Hi, my name is Jamie Seacrest. I'm going to be doing an introduction video for Building Finance EDL 854. I start out with, I teach at Greeley Elementary. Here's a picture of my classroom and our building. This will be my 8th year teaching here. I teach a 5th and 6th grade combination class, all subjects. We are a very small school. We only have about 75 students in the building, and 20 of those are preschool. A little bit of my educational background. I started out, I got a BS in marketing from ESU. Then I decided after I went to the business world for a while that I wanted to go back and become a teacher. So I ended up getting my BS in elementary education from Ottawa University. Then I went and got my master's in instructional design and technology from ESU. And now I'm working towards getting my administration license from Fort Hays. Teaching experience. This is my 21st year of teaching. Like I said, I have been at Greeley Elementary for 8 years, teaching a 5th and 6th grade combo class. Prior to that, I taught 8 years teaching 5th grade at Sunflower Elementary in Paola, Kansas. I taught junior high, 6th through 8th grade English and science for 3 years in Williamsburg, Kansas. I would have stayed there. I loved it, but unfortunately, those small schools, they start closing down, and I didn't want to relocate with the school. My first year's teaching, I did a 5th and 6th grade combo class for Holy Angels, a private Catholic school in Garnett, Kansas for 2 years. Some of my personal information. I live in a small town of Scipio, Kansas. I live with my 2 sons, Tyler, which is 21, and my son, Caden. He's a freshman this year. We have 2 cats and 2 dogs. As you can see in the picture, my one dog, he's an outside dog, but he thinks that anytime he can get inside, and he just jumps for the chair and acts like he's been watching TV all day. Crazy guy. We live on a farm, so we have some cattle, and my son Caden has 4 ducks. My family loves being outdoors, riding 4-wheelers or fishing or just doing anything outside. And besides teaching, I help my sister run a restaurant called the Scipio Supper Club. And this is a picture of me and my sister and my sister-in-law at our restaurant. So 10 main takeaways from the articles. That about 48% of schools' budget comes from state resources, including income tax, sales tax, and fees. Another 44% is contributed locally, primarily through the property taxes of homeowners in the area. And I thought that was very interesting to know that most of our percentage of our local funding comes just from our own property taxes and homeowners in the area. The federal government does not have the authority to set unfunded mandates for local schools, which means schools and districts can always refuse federal money offered if the state government does not wish to participate in the program. Those dollars are allotted to fund some of the programs currently funded by the federal government, which I thought was very interesting, that any schools would want to turn down or refuse federal money. 3, a principal should ensure that teachers' salaries are in line with the levels set by the Department of Education, and the staff comply with the employment terms of the department. I thought that was a very good explanation on the, trying to keep teachers, making sure that they stay, we have good teachers in our schools. They need to make sure that the teacher salaries are in line with the other schools around. 4, principals do some aspects, record keeping themselves. However, most schools employ professional accountants as they are more conservative with the accounting issues to avoid any presence of financial wrongdoing, which I thought was very interesting that, that we would need a professional accountant to make sure that our schools are up to date, that I would just think that that would be a given, that we would have accountants in there to make sure that we're making our record keeping correct. Number 5, a recent study showing that a worrying majority of principals and administrators lacked financial literacy and a basic knowledge of bookkeeping. I totally can see that. Wanting eventually to take over and be a principal of a school, that is a very big worry of mine. I just really don't know a lot of the financial terms and the literacy that we need to know for bookkeeping. Number 6, it is the best interest of the schools and its students that its school leader has a clear understanding of his or her role in the management of finances and the implementations of financial policy. An important aspect of that is reading, comprehending, and creating financial statements and reports. I think that's very important, that we should be able to read and comprehend what is being presented on our financial statements and why we are reporting things. 7, that educating yourself and using the best tools available is one of the best leadership steps you can take for optimizing your leadership while eliminating principal burnout. I think this is very true, that we need to make sure that we have all of our tools available so we can be the best that we can be in our leadership, so we aren't burned out, overdoing too much work. 8, principals typically are treated like middle managers with little control over their public education spending. I feel that this is pretty true. Most of our funding and our spending is being managed through the district office. So I can see that the middle managers falls in the line. 9, at the state level, school finance formulas determine how dollars are allowed to districts, virtually all of which contain allotments that are restricted for specific purposes. I am finding more about that. Looking at our budget from our last school board meeting, kind of showed that how money was broken up and where this money is only spent for this section and this money is only spent for this section. That makes more sense now. 10, studies show providing principals with flexibility can better align spending with school priorities. I thought this was very good because if the principals had more flexibility, they would make sure that the funding and what was spent was what the school needed. So my current school principal's budget involvement. My principal gives us a set budget that we can spend for the following year in our classrooms. This is based off the year's budget and what was left at the end of the year. So, for instance, this year she had some budget left over, so each of us teachers got to spend $400 in our classrooms, which was very nice, but it's not what we get every year. It was just a year that she didn't spend very much of our budget. My principal has a set budget for professional development that we can spend for the year, so we're allowed to go to conferences and different things. We just have to stay within our conference budget for the year. We have to have all items approved through the district office before purchasing. Even though it will be coming out of our building budget, the district office wants to make sure that we are spending what needs to be spent correctly, so they want to approve it first. My principal does not explain to us where all the money goes or what our building budget is. We just know what we get at the end of the year. The secretary does help the principal keep track of the building's budget, such as paper, copies, essential stuff that they would need for the building goes through her. So, some of my concerns. Not having the budget to get what my teachers would like. I want to make sure that I am providing them with the best stuff, because I know, now I got like $400 to spend in my classroom, but I've been in some schools where we got $50. So it's nice, but I want to make sure that I'm allowing my teachers to get what they would like. And not understanding all the finance part of the job. Yeah, that's why I'm hoping to get a lot out of this class, because I really want to know more of the finance part of the job so I can make sure that my teachers get what they like. For afraid of making an error, looking stupid in front of my staff, and maybe going over my budget. Those are some of my concerns that I want to make sure that I'm more literate in the financial statements and understanding the financial part of my job. Here are my references. All right, thank you.